Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with another recap, and I'm recapping that game two of the Fever and the Aces game from last night. A very, a vastly different game from game one. Totally flipped on its side from the game one. Um, the Aces were able to slow down Kelsey Mitchell, or she just had a bad day. I'm not sure of which one is which, but Kelsey Kelsey Mitchell just had she just didn't shoot well. She only had 13 points, and then of course in game one she hit the 34 points. But I felt like Chelsea Gray did a huge job defensively on her, as well as she did a lot of great passes last night and just was a terror on defense. And I think if she keeps that up, it'll be interesting to see how this series will continue. But last night, Kelsey Mitchell, 1 of 6 from the three, and she only shot 4 of 14 from the field. So it was very, unlike her to shoot like that. So I don't know if she had a bad game. She didn't look like she was in the game all last night. I'm not sure if it be because of the defense or just something she was going through. But, hopefully she'll be able to recover from it because she's needed for that team, especially without Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham last night. So, but I do think Chelsea Gray was a huge difference in the game. And with her 10 assists, that was vital as well, getting her team involved and they missed a couple of open shots that she passed around, but for the most part, Chelsea Gray did a phenomenal job all around last night. And I can't forget about Asia Wilson's 25 points and 9 rebounds was very important for her team as well. She made some great shots last night and she seemed to be back in rhythm, especially from game one. She was very off on game one. I think coming off the MVP news, it's very difficult to have a good performance. And watching the NBA, that's the thing I fear when someone wins a MVP or some kind of award because usually they have an off game that same game, especially if it's on the same day. Uh, History will show you that it's just a curse. I feel like that first game after winning an MVP or some kind of award, um, but it's just interesting or unusual, not unusual to see somebody play bad coming off an MVP award recognition. But I do want to give major credit to Becky Hammond in this game. She did an incredible job with the adjustments and just frustrating Kelsey Mitchell, double teaming the post when Aaliyah Boston gets the basketball. Just the defense was swarming. So, I think her being a part of that Greg Popovich tree helps a lot because he's a big on adjustments. Anytime that the Spurs lost the game, especially in a playoff series, they would come back the next game ready to go. And this is no different. I remember the Spurs series when they played, I want to say it was Oklahoma City Thunder, and they gave up a lot of points one game, and then they came back the next game and did the same thing to the Thunder. So Greg Popovich was the king of adjustments, and Becky Hammond was right on the bench next to her during that time from 2014 to 2021. So I think Becky Hammond should have succeeded Greg Popovich when he left, but I don't think the NBA was ready for a female coach yet. But Becky Hammond should definitely get a run at that in the future. But that's just a side note. But I think that Becky Hammond realized what we all realized, or what at least I realized, that the Fever without Caitlin Clark is just Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. But if you can shut down Kelsey Mitchell, it controls everything around that because Kelsey Mitchell is the catalyst for the defense and the offense. So if you can shut her down offensively, her defense is going to slip. And she didn't look there all night. So I think them with the sending the double teams and going on top of the screens and forcing her underneath did a lot last night. She still made some pretty good shots last night, but she only made 4. And if she's not going to make 4 going into the series, I think the Aces' chances are very good, even with game 3 being in Indiana. And we know that crowd is going to come out for the Fever in game 3 and 4. But Lexi Hall, she did great last night, making 5 threes, and Leah Boston had 10 points and 13 rebounds. But I think they had to work a little bit harder for those stats than they usually do. So I think they were exhausted. They looked exhausted, especially in that second half. And I think it's because of the Aces defense and them swarming around and them being able to just, frustrate the Fever and not just let them get open shots and just turn it into a shooting exhibition like they did in game one. But and a huge difference, and it's in the same thing like the Mercury and the Lynx game was the bench production. Uh, the Aces got 24 points off the bench, 10 points apiece from Dana Evans and Joel Lloyd. That was huge last night. And the Fever only got 6 points from their bench. So they were a negative 18 points from bench scoring to what the Aces were doing. So yeah, that's going to be a huge difference in the game, especially it's an underrated thing with the bench production because we know what your starters can get you, but what can your bench provide? And we know the bench gets shorter in the playoff times, but your bench has to be productive. They have to be able to get points. They have to get rebounds, assists. They have to give you something. And they didn't really get much from the bench last night from the Fever. So they're going to have to make that adjustment in game 3 and 4. But luckily, usually or historically, bench players play better at home. So Indiana will be at home in game 3 and game 4. So maybe their bench will give them more production and more of a spark because they will need that, especially if Kelsey Mitchell is going to struggle and only score 13 points, which is a rarity this year and over the last few years, actually. But if I'm Becky Hammond going in 3 and 4, I'm definitely doubling Kelsey Mitchell and forcing Lexi Hull or somebody else to beat me because Natasha Mack is good defensively and a rebounder, but she's not really known for scoring. Aaliyah Boston, the same thing. She's known for defense and rebounding. She's not really known as a scorer. Now, she can score, but if I could put my money on anything, I would let Aaliyah Boston take 20 shots opposed to Kelsey Mitchell doing it. It's going to hurt a lot differently if Kelsey Mitchell does it because she's going to get them off fast breaks. She's going to get 3-point shots, which count double in the playoffs. And it's just going to be a disaster. So I would definitely double Kelsey Mitchell, frustrate her, and, cut down her shot production or her ability to put up shots in this game 3 and 4. But I expect the Fever to get Kelsey Mitchell going early, just to set the tone in this game 3. And I also expect Asia on the road to play well, to play better than she's been playing. Even though she played better in game 2, I think she left a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak, as far as play goes, because Chelsea Gray was in her bag last night. Dana Evans was too, and they just had different pieces, and she just let them cook. But I think in game 3, she will set the tone in this game. But they will definitely need that bench production to kick up like they did in game 2, opposed to game 1, because I think Dana Evans played a very good game and she really set the tone for the bench and for the energy of the team last night. She didn't seem like she was too scared of the moment. So it's going to look good for her going forward. But game 3 is Friday night, and we'll see what happens after that. But as always, thanks for tuning into the Urban School podcast. And until next time, I'll see you next time.